Hey there. Hi, everyone. I am live. What's up? Welcome to Rebecca the Reseller. Thanks for joining me today for our live stream. It is good to see everyone. Looks like we have a few people here. Hello, hello, Girly Gamer and Beth Tillman. Hi there. How's everybody doing? Beth, no, it's not a Zoom. You can watch me. I can't see you. It's live on YouTube. You don't have to worry about a thing. But if you want to do your hair and makeup, you're more than welcome to. It's completely up to you. But hey, everyone, this topic today is something that I love talking about, and I thought it would be a good topic for a live because I can kind of just talk off the cuff about some of the experiences I've had with hiring all kinds of help for Poshmark and eBay and reselling in general. I've had pretty much almost every single kind of helper, and I have some notes to kind of go through. And as usual, what I like to do is kind of run through the content that I have to start off with, so those that do catch the replay can get all the content up front, and then if they're interested in staying for the discussion, they can. Because for me, when I watch a YouTube video, I like to get all the good stuff up front, and then, if I have time to hang around, I do. So if you have questions, if there are topics that you want to talk about related to having helpers of any kind, whether it's a virtual assistant or a photographer or a lister or an assistant or any kind of thing, go ahead and put all of this stuff into the chat, and then we can go through it all. So the great thing about having a reselling business is that you can do it all yourself. But there does come a point where you have to then make choices about the kinds of things that only you can do, and perhaps when it is the right time for you to bring someone else into your business, whether it's that you physically have a local person that comes to help you in some way or someone virtually. There's lots of different ways to do it. And like I said, I've had them all, and I'm going to go through all of that today. So I made a list of just generally speaking things that a helper can help with. And that way that could kind of start off our discussion. So someone could help you share, drafting listings, like loading the photos in, clicking in some of the fields, but not actually complete the entire listing. Someone could do your listings from start to finish. They could cross post for you. They could photograph for you. They could ship for you. They could do your inventory. I know a lot of people don't like to deal with actually dealing with the inventory and putting it away and folding it and stuff like that once it's been photographed. That's not really part of my system, but I know that some people do that. So you could have like an inventory person. You could just have like a general assistant, someone that just comes and helps you do things on a rotating basis or on an ad hoc basis. Whatever you need help with that day, they just kind of join in and work with you. You can have someone that handles your bookkeeping and accounting and kind of records all of your sales or updates a spreadsheet for you. You could even have a sourcing scout or a sourcer. I feel like when I say sourcer, I'm saying sorcerer. So I like saying that. So I say a sourcing scout. So someone that could potentially, if you gave them a list of brands or what to look for, they could go and source for you. So there's lots of different types of ways you could bring a helper on board. And I have some thoughts as far as like where you would want to start and why you would want to bring someone on board. And I'll get to that in a second. So now let's talk about some of the options you have for bringing someone in. So if you have kids, and I joke about this with my husband and with Gio, we just actually said it. We try to give Gio chores. He's 5, and I've always read that like around 3 and 4 years old is when you should start getting them used to having chores. This is, though, the first year that we've started to offer him an allowance so that he could save for some things that he would like to get and to talk about money and learn about money. And so I really do feel like once a child is of 3 or 4 years old, you can have them help you with household chores, but you could also help in certain situations bring them into your business in a way, because then it becomes something that you can have together or a way that you could spend time together, and that child can learn a lot of things from you beyond just the exact business task. They see about hard work. They see about prioritization. Gio knows now about negotiating because we used to go to garage sales together, and now we're like buying things on eBay that he wants, and I let him like negotiate a deal the other day. I talk to him when I get offers in about negotiating. So this isn't all just about reselling with kids, though. If you guys have thoughts about that, I could always do a separate thing about that, because I am really passionate about how you can involve your child, and how I see a lot of moms get very crazy, and I understand it, about, I can't get any photographs done. My kid's always in the way. He's doing this. He's messing with the clothes. He's doing that. She's over here. I can't get anything done. And it's like this big, giant frustration. And I get that, because we're ambitious women and we want to do all of our business things. And it is hard to juggle with kids. But I do think that the earlier you bring them into your business, even in the smallest way, that helps you get more done along the way, because now they have a respect for it. They see it. They may even, want to help you in certain ways, and maybe can earn a little money by doing so. Like right now, Gio makes boxes for me. The little, I don't have one right here. The little small flat rate, the ones that like look like they hold like a VHS tape. For those maybe millennials or younger out there, a VHS goes in a VCR, which is how we used to watch recorded things back in the day, on TV and stuff, like movies, before DVDs and things, and before streaming. Hello, old person that I am. But anyway, so he's folding those boxes for me, and he gets a stack. And when he finishes the stack, he gets a quarter. And like, for him, that's amazing. And I don't want to overpay him, because he doesn't really need all kinds of money right now, but it's good for him to understand. And we're talking about like how many quarters make $1 and stuff. So anyway, there's a lot of ways that you can get your kids involved, and Gio's really little. And so I don't think having a little kid is an excuse not to try to see if you can bring them into your business in one way, shape, or form. There's only so many things they can do, though. If you have older kids, though, and I don't have one, so I don't know, but there's got to be a way to rope them in. Like, I can't wait until Gio is of older ages where he can like do more meaningful tasks for me. And I used to help my mom. My mom was a teacher. I used to help her mark her papers. She was a teacher, and I would mark her papers for her. I would help her. She worked for, it's an MLM, but it was called House of Lloyd, and it's not around anymore. But you sold like home decor items and Christmas decorations and things like that. And so I would like prepare the order forms and like stamp the catalogs with her information. I love stamping things. So like, there were lots of things that I did to help her. So I really feel like there's so many great things that you can get out of it for you and for your kid if you bring kids in. Now, then I have family or friends as well. And like, this might be obvious, but it also might not. Like, you might never have really thought about the neighbor's college age daughter that's next door, that's been next door, and who's looking for a little bit of money but wants to be safe right now because of the coronavirus. Maybe she could share your closet. Or, if you have a family friend and the mom decided to stay home to help the kids, but she could do something at night. And so you could help other stay-at-home moms, and I say other, assuming you are one. You may not be one. I am. But, so there's stay-at-home moms, there's retired people. Like, I've been giving my mom all kinds of jobs to help me with since she's been snowbirding here. And so if there's a repetitive task that you do again and again that you could show this person and they can help you over time, it's worth putting the time in to get that person up to speed and to show them and to train them and everything, which we'll talk about in a second. So kids, family or friends, a local student or mom or elderly person. Obviously, virtual assistants is, a hot topic. I have a lot of experience with this. So you can hire a virtual assistant on sites like Upwork and others. I've personally only used Upwork, and I think it's fantastic. And you can get a virtual assistant that's US based if that's what you prefer. You could also get someone that is international if that's what you prefer. And there are pluses and minuses to both, which we could talk about. And then you can also hire a VA service, which I'll be honest with you, I used one briefly. I talked about it on my channel, and I honestly don't know if they're even around anymore. This was a very long time ago. So I don't I don't have any personal experience with any VA services or virtual assistant services where you pay like an agency and then they just have like people that do your stuff, versus you hiring your own individual person and training your own individual person. So there's lots that we could talk about that if you have more questions about that. So that's the kinds of things that could be done potentially, the kinds of people that could do it. And then I had some general notes, and then we'll start talking about questions and stuff. P.S. Like, my allergies are robust right now, and I am like a giant mucus factory. And I know that's a lot of information for you, but I just want you to know, because I don't know if I'm going to make it through this whole thing. It's hard to breathe. So I put on here, one of my biggest tips is to start small, because you can always expand later. You can always add to the job scope. You can always rehire someone with a bigger or better contract. Let's say if you're doing, like a virtual assistant. So start small. Pick one task, which we'll talk about some options. Pick one task that you could easily train someone to do, that can easily be replicated over time. And I always say, like, sharing is probably the best and easiest place to start, because it's literally clicking buttons. You could show someone in 2 minutes how to do it, and it's repetitive over and over again. You can give them parameters and then just set them and forget them kind of thing. Like, it's very easy to get someone started with sharing for you. And just to give you a little backstory on how I started hiring help, it was a local mom who I never met that I hired through a Facebook group, like a local mom's Facebook group. I put out a little post that said, hey, I need some help virtually doing this task. Is anybody interested? And this girl who I never met, a young mom who lives like a couple towns over, we talked on the phone. I paid her through PayPal, and she did sharing for me. And that was the very first person that I gave my account access to, that I, hired basically to remote share my closet for me. And it was great until it wasn't, because she was a busy mom and a lot of things got in the way, and then it wasn't so reliable. And so, we moved on from each other at that point. But for me to feel comfortable in hiring someone, trusting someone with my account, and learning how it is to, quote, manage someone, because once you hire somebody to help you, you're managing them. It was a very easy start, got my feet wet, and helped me really understand a lot of things that I then took to creating a virtual assistant position to share my closet. And then that person was she was in the Philippines, and she was a college student, and she just wanted to make extra money to help pay for her tuition. And I hired her for a little while. So I went from a local remote person to an international remote person. And then she also kind of became a little unreliable. And, we could talk about that. But then I ended up hiring another VA who then basically became like my second fiddle, like my vice president. Like, I ended up just adding and adding and adding to her scope of work, to the tune of, like, she was doing everything for me, and it was wonderful. And if it weren't for the pandemic, she probably would still be working for me. But I did let her go because everything during the pandemic was very uncertain, and I didn't want to feel like I couldn't pay her if sales, came crashing down or whatever. So we parted ways. But actually, I just hired her again the other day to do a small, short-term kind of one-off project for me. So we're still on good terms. She's actually going to do another project for me. So who knows? Eventually, she might be my vice president again. But starting small, you can always expand. I really feel passionate that starting with sharing, that's a really easy breezy way to get somebody started. And so I put here repetitive, time-consuming tasks. Well, hello, Poshmark sharing can't be more repetitive and can't be more time-consuming. So it's a great place to start. And then I also put here, like, take something that you don't want to do. So for you, if you don't mind sharing, and sharing has fit into your life in a way where it doesn't really bother you because you're doing it when you're watching TV or whatever, it doesn't matter. But listing is the thing that you have an issue with, and you have a motivation problem with listing. You maybe don't think you're very good at it. It takes you a long time, or whatever it is. Then maybe that's the thing that you focus on. So a repetitive time-consuming task is a good place to start, but you could also take a task that you don't like doing. It bottlenecks you. It prevents you from growing and moving forward because you don't like doing it and you don't want to do it. And so it's just like, you do it kicking and screaming. Hire that out. Or something that doesn't require you. So in most cases, people would want to be the one to source because you're the one watching the haul videos, watching the what sold videos, you're learning the brands and doing the research. So you need to be the one to source. You want to do your quality check. You don't want to hire someone to do the fun shopping part. But you could show someone how to do your photos for you because really in the end, as long as you tell them what to do and you show them good photos, it's not really hard to take good photos. I think taking good photos is all about knowing what your process should be and then having the setup to execute it. Once you get those two things and you know that you're taking good photos, it doesn't matter if you're standing there or Joe Schmo is standing there. You can have them do it for you. And some people hate taking photos. It is a time-consuming, repetitive task. There you go. I mean, for me, I'd much rather take photos than list because I could listen to the news, I could listen to a podcast, I could kind of zone out. And so photos for me really isn't that big of a deal. And I have, after 5 years now, the muscle memory to do it. Also, photography, most of the time, happens in your home. So if you want someone to do it for you, either you need to allow them into your home, which right now is kind of an interesting thing, or you have to make sure that you trust in the person and the setup that they might have remotely in their home. And I used to have both. I used to have a photographer come to my home when Gio was really little and I couldn't take the photos. So I had a photographer come here, and then over time we built up trust, and then she created a photo setup at her house and she did the photos there. And then it even built up to the point where she would go to the storage unit that I had. She had a key to the storage unit. She picked up the bins, took them to her house, photographed them, brought them back to the storage unit when they were done, put them away for me in the inventory bins, and then sent the photos to me. And then I sent the photos to my virtual assistant. The virtual assistant listed it, and I just priced it and made it go live. And it was like all I did was shop, do the final part of the listing, and ship. And that's all I did for my reselling business. And let me tell you, it was glorious. It cost me, but it was glorious. And so I'll probably get back to some version of that, but I'm taking baby steps now. I learned a lot of lessons back then in what it means to bring people on board into your business. And there's pluses and minuses to it. So I also think you should pay lower because you can always give them raises. You can always give them bonuses. You could always reevaluate and increase their pay, but you can't go back and say, you're not doing as good of a job as I thought, so I'm going to pay you less. I don't think that's going to go over too well. So in my opinion, I think you should get someone that's interested in kind of a bottom line type salary. Doesn't mean like, treat them like, a third class citizen or something. But I think you should, whatever you deem as kind of your lower end of the spectrum of what you could pay, I think you should pay on the lower end so that you have room to grow as you either increase their duties or as they get better at it, or as they've been with you longer to give them a reward, like not a cost of living increase, like a merit increase or whatever, and then reward their loyalty for being with you for a longer period of time. And I should point out, my photographer was with me for about 2 years, and my VA was with me probably almost 3 years, the one VA that I had the longest. So just so you know, make sure you have a consistent amount of sales before you venture into hiring someone on a regular kind of term or whatever. You should consider your sales, because yes, hiring someone to share for you will help increase your sales, but you also need to make sure that you're making some sales or have some money to invest in this person's salary and what you're paying them before you go ahead and enter into a relationship with them. And what I recommend doing is to figure out what you want to pay somebody for the task. You keep doing the task for a couple months, but you put aside the money that you would have paid that person. So let's say I was going to hire someone to share my closet for me once a day, and I was going to pay that person, $5 to share my closet. I would put away $35 a week in a little separate account and see how I'm still doing sales-wise and money-wise. So even though that person actually hasn't come on board yet, and even though I'm still doing that share, I'm putting aside that money so that I could see what it's like to have that expense come out of my sales and profit and whatever. And I think that's a really good way, because then not only will you have some money set aside in case something goes haywire, you have money for them because you've said, hey, I'm going to pay you $35 a week to share my closet once a day or whatever. You have a thing with them and you need to be accountable and make sure you can pay them. You can't just have them do the work and then say, sorry, I didn't make enough sales this week, I can't pay you. That's not going to go over well. So that, and then practice paying them. Oh, and then, just really thinking through the idea that you are going to be accountable to this person. Some people argue that you don't work for the manager works for the employee, right? So you have this person now that's going to have questions that you need to answer, that may need time off, that, might have a conflict one day, that you need to make sure you have enough work for. When I had the photographer, we agreed on 10 listings a day, 70 items a week. So I had to always make sure that I had 70 items sourced for her because she was expecting to make that amount of money per week. So being accountable. And then just two other things, and then we'll get into the thing here. I do have other videos on my channel if you want to know more than what we're talking about here. There's one about the truth about hiring a photographer. I have a whole series about hiring a virtual assistant. And I think I have one other video about just like generally hiring help. So you can check that out. I do have a playlist about hiring help. And then I do have a hiring bundle on my Etsy store. In my Etsy store, it's a series of documents, sample job descriptions, a confidentiality agreement, a hiring checklist, and things that I've put together for myself when I hire a virtual assistant for reselling purposes. And so that's available in the Etsy shop for you to download. The other two things I wanted to mention real quick, and then we'll get into the chat, is if you aren't familiar, I do have reseller boxes in my Poshmark closet, which is at the reseller shop on Poshmark, and there's free shipping now on all of them. And then I'm running a 20% off code for ThreadUp Club if you want to join, or for my Poshmark boutique course, and that is code 20OFF, and that gets you 20% off either one of those courses, and that is at RebeccaTheResellerAcademy.teachable.com. So that was my little commercial. Now let's get into the chat and talk a little bit about hiring help. So again, we said hi to Girly Gamer. We said hi to Beth Tillman. Cassie C is here. Hello, hello. Ebliss Reseller Solutions says, thanks for the YouTube live. Absolutely. Maritza is here. Hello. Bumblebee. PBS used to have a show, PBS Biz Kids. Maybe it's still available online. My son loved it. Oh, that is cool. I will check that out, because PBS Biz Kids. Maybe it's like on YouTube, like the old ones or something, because I think they have a YouTube channel. Thank you, because he's really into that kind of stuff. And I really do believe that entrepreneurialism, whatever, is kind of like a DNA thing. Like my dad was kind of that way. He's since passed. And so it's not like I learned it from him, because he passed when I was young. So it's not like I watched him do all of the, I watched my mom do some things, but I wouldn't necessarily say that she was an entrepreneur. I think she was more, I need to make money, I'm a single mom kind of person. But Gio, like, immediately has, yes, he sees me at home doing this business and whatever. So, the example is there, but he definitely has a little entrepreneurial bug. Deb Ladetta, hashtag Mama Boss says, hi all, glad to catch a live. Yay, glad you're here. I have a 15-year-old boy, Jen DeLeon says, and he shares my closet for me, $20 a week, 3 times a day. Now, there you go. That is, I will tell you, having had access, $20 a week, 3 times a day. Yeah, because 3 times a day is 20. So you're paying him like less than $1 per share. I don't know how big your closet is, but let me tell you, you can't even get a virtual assistant in the Philippines for that rate. So here's to kids helping their moms and their dads with their reselling business. And I meant to say this before, and then I must have gotten off track. We talk about how, you know, back in the day when like it was like a family farm, right? That's why people had large families. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why they had large families, but also because they needed people to work on the family farm. So it wasn't odd for a family to have 9 kids because they all had to help, you know, deal with the pigs and deal with the chickens and all this stuff. And I don't know, I never lived on a farm, but I tell that to Gio all the time, like, Gio, you need to learn how to run the family farm. So today my husband had him help in the kitchen. Like I have him like empty the bathroom trash cans, and like he's learning how to Swiffer and stuff. And I'm just like, Gio, you have to learn how to run the family farm. I said, we don't have any animals. I said, but this is running our family farm, so you need to learn how. So funny. I love it. Jen DeLeon, that's the best comment so far. Let's put that up for a second. Oh, it jumped. Let's put that up. Okay. Okay, Deb, I got your names confused here. Deb Ladata, my son 9. Here we go. Here's another one. My son 9 cleans my shoes. I'm going to bring my daughter aboard to list because she wants to stay home with my new grandparents. Oh, okay. So she's older. She just had a baby. So congratulations, Grandma. And now she's going to learn how to list so that she can stay home with exactly like. And this is one of the reasons why I'm super passionate about reselling in general as a business for women that choose to be a stay-at-home mom, because being a stay-at-home mom was never something that I thought was going to be in my world. You know, like I'm a super alpha, super career-oriented, super ambitious person, and was just going to keep working. And it wasn't until we had some snafus with childcare and this and that, and that Gio arrived, and we were like, yeah, no, it's not going to work for us. Like we could have me stay home financially. Thank God we're very blessed in that way. And, you know, then it just kind of ended up where I happened into reselling as a way to like, you know, kind of keep your brain going and stuff. Because when you're home with little baby, it can get kind of crazy. But I think all women that choose to stay home or that feel that they don't have a choice because they don't know about reselling and all that you can do with it and all it can do for your family, I just wish that that message would spread because, and I hope that I have some small part in doing that, because it is a really great way. Like not everyone has to have the goal of $100,000 business, which is my goal for this year. You could have, I just want to bring home $500 extra. That will help pay for the kids' activities and the dog's medicine or whatever you need it for. And you could totally do that as a woman, staying home with your kids, being the best mom that you always wanted to be, and still having a business for yourself. So I could talk all day about that. Let's see where we are. So that's great. The 9-year-old cleans the shoes. The daughter, who's now a mom, is going to list. I love it. So now we have some people talking to each other. So let's get into that. He says, is easy money. LOL. Good for him. I love that. Girly gamer. Anyone using Vendoo to relist items on Posh? So yes. Hi. Yes, I am. I love Vendoo. I know that some people are, you know, list perfectly, Vendoo, whatever. I just only ever started with Vendoo and it worked and I liked it. So I stuck with it. I have no experience with the other, but I am super excited about Vendoo. I do have a discount code in the description if you would like to try it out. I highly recommend trying it out with a few items just so you get a feel for it before you go like signing up for a big package. But I used to cross post. Then I stopped. Now I'm back on it. So right now I have used it to relist items completely just on Poshmark, and that is super easy. And then also to cross post from Poshmark to Mercari. I have a couple things on Tradesy, and then probably around the summer is when I'll start bringing eBay back into the mix. And then we'll see about Facebook Marketplace. I don't know. That'll probably be my last stop should I go that way. But if you have any specific questions, put them in the chat. Happy to answer them. You can also have virtual assistant or a helper of some kind utilize Vendoo to help you list so that they don't have access to your actual accounts. There are some ways that you would have to get it set up, which, you know, if someone wants to know, I can get into, but otherwise I won't bore you with the details because they do have to be logged in and signed in. But it is possible. So keep that in mind. Drink more water tea to dilute water-based drinks. What is really helps you with the allergies. I know I have my water here. Give me a second. It was like getting better. And then all of a sudden today it was just like really bad. So it's like, thank you so much, Bumblebee. I appreciate that. If you pay your kids to help, can that be a write-off? So check with your CPA. What I'm paying Geo to help with little things is not, anything. And as far as I'm aware, there is a limit. I want to say it's like 600, but I don't know. Don't quote me. Find out from a CPA. A person can work for you up to a certain dollar amount, I believe, where then you don't have to pay them 1099, where they're not considered a contractor for you. And so you could still write it off, but nobody has to necessarily like claim it as far as I'm aware. So there were some people where I would hire them, like a neighbor helped me with something one time. And so I paid her and she helped, and that was it. And I did claim that as an expense, but it wasn't enough to 1099 her. However, my photographer, in order for me to claim the expense as a write-off of her services, I did have to issue her a 1099, which means that she needs to pay taxes on that money. So just keep that in mind, because if you're going to pay someone and write it off, that person then has to claim it. The money has to get claimed somewhere. So either you're claiming it as income or that person is claiming it as income. So if you write it off of your books, now it's onto their books. So when it's a kid that's in your family, that's your dependent, I don't really know. I would talk with a CPA about that because I'm not there yet. But I will say that I would not hesitate to do it, because there's a channel that I really like. I'm kind of into like financial freedom and retiring early and the FIRE movement and things like that. And so there is a channel called Our Rich Journey, which is a family that moved to Portugal. The mom and dad retired early in their like late 30s, early 40s, and they've, documented their journey. And so one thing that they mentioned in one of their videos that I never knew was that a child that has earned income can start a retirement account, an IRA, whether it's a Roth or a traditional, once they have earned income. So let's say Geo was like a child actor, right? Let's just say. And so he earned money, from his child acting. Then he's earning income. So I could start a retirement account for him. Let's say Geo had his own YouTube channel, which he's bugging me for. And I'm like, oh, dear God, no. And he earned income from his YouTube channel, he could then have a retirement account already started. And so I was like, oh my God, we should start a retirement account, because think of all of the compounding time this child could have, put it in an index fund, let it ride, and this kid will be maybe to the point where they wouldn't ever have to work. I mean, think about how much money could potentially be in there by the time the kid is 20, by just putting a little bit of money in at a time and really letting it compound. I mean, any retirement, anything that you find will show you, if you start saving in your 20s and let it compound to your 60s, how much farther ahead you are and how much less money you have to contribute in order for that money to grow to the same level as someone who started in their 30s. I know this isn't a financial channel, but someday maybe it will be. So I'm like super into it. And so I'm like, oh my God, if I could pay Geo, I would 1099 him. He would have earned income. It would be a write-off for me, earned income for him, which yes, he's a dependent. There's earned income there, but that would allow him to have a retirement account that we could put money into from his earned income. He would learn the value of saving, and then it could just ride his life. Like, oh my God, that would be amazing. So Cassie, the short answer to your problem is that I don't know, but your long Rebecca answer was what I just said. So, oh man. Hi, Trisha M. She says, hi, Trisha. Another Trisha says, Trisha Goldsherrick says, hi, great info. Glad to help. Glad you found it helpful. Let's see. I lost it. Here, let's see what this says. Okay. Cassie C. Yes. Oh, here we go. Somebody knows. Up to $12,000 without them paying federal taxes. Not sure about the age of the child. You would need to talk to your accountant. They will need their own checking account showing the money. Excellent. Very good. I did not know this. Thank you, girly gamer. But yes, everybody should always check with their CPA just to cover your bases. Jen De Leon, it's not very big, but it's something I don't have to worry about. Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Rebecca, NW Purple Sparkles. Rebecca, so happy to catch a live. Yay, I am happy too. Thanks for sharing, Rebecca. I'm going full-time this summer, so getting ready to take the plunge and hire someone. Amethyst Heart. What a name. That's a nice name. I like that. So, okay, that's exciting. Let me know if you have any specific questions. And one thing I should mention, and it's just another little plug, and I apologize, but I do think that some people, it's a helpful thing. So I don't do like coaching, consulting. I don't call it that. I don't like to call it that. But I do offer reseller chats where you can hop on the phone with me one-on-one and we can talk about whatever topic you're into at reselling related topic. And so, I've had people call me and want to know specific things about having a storage unit. I've had people want to know specific things about how to get started with their boutique. I've had other people want to know specific things for their personal situation about Poshmark and their closet. And so I wanted this topic to just mention, if you are thinking about hiring someone, you're not sure what you should hire them for, not sure what to pay them, want to have a personal discussion about it, that's what a reseller chat is for, because it's a one-on-one thing. I put out a lot of content that's in general for everyone to get a little bit of something. But if you ever want to have a specific, chat about, I want this to be personal to me. What do you think? Walk me through it. What are the steps? What do I need to know? I mean, in a half an hour or an hour, I can usually give you everything you need and we can set up an action plan. And a lot of them are one-off. I have a few people that do it weekly with me, but most people, it's like, I came, I want to get the information, and then I'm finished with you. Thanks so much, Rebecca. Bye. So if you're interested, there is a link in my description to schedule and pay for a reseller chat. Just want to mention that. So yeah, I'm excited for you, Amethyst. Like I said, if you have more questions, let us know. Going full-time is a big deal. So I hope you have taken steps to make sure that you are set and safe. And what I said before, I would highly recommend before you hire someone, that you set aside some, payment for them, and you know what it's like to pay that person out of the money that you're making before you even start committing yourself to that person. Because if you're going to ask them to commit to you, you need to also commit to them. And so I think that that's something to keep in mind. Also, there's something to be said about when you hire someone, initially it's going to cost you time and it's going to cost you money, and you're going to be less productive and you're going to make less money. And over time, then the person will pay for themselves. And then the idea is that they more than pay for themselves. So let's say you're just paying somebody $10 a day to come and help you. In the beginning, you're going to be showing them the ropes. And so it's going to cost you $10 a day and it's going to take 4 hours of your time. And that's bad. But then after a week, it's going to cost you $10 a day and then only 2 hours of your time. And then the third week, it's going to cost you $10 a day and no extra time, because now you can do your work and they can do their work. And so that's going to help you be more productive. But what I caution you against is don't think, I hired this person to list, so now that means I can go get my toes done, which I have on my mind because I got my vaccine, and that's one of the first things I'm going to do when I have my full immunity is get a pedicure. But, are they trying to replace you? And so you're paying them to do work that you don't have to do now? Or are you paying them to do work so you can do other work and move your business forward? And so when Gio was little and I hired my photographer, she was basically just replacing me because I couldn't do that photography because Gio was little and crawling all around and I couldn't get those photos done. So she was replacing me. So it wasn't like I was getting all my bang for my buck for her and from the salary I paid her, because she was just replacing work for me that I couldn't do. But then when I hired the virtual assistant, that was like an exponential relationship because she did stuff for me way cheaper because she was international, and it freed me up. Instead of listing or working on my spreadsheet or all the things she did for me, I was working on my print on demand business, loading shirt designs on Amazon and building that business up. So reselling was getting done by those two. And then I was spending time working on my merch by Amazon business, which was great because now I get several $100s a month off of the designs I made 2 years ago because I was able to put in that time and effort because they were helping me with my reselling business. So I hope that makes sense and just food for thought. So we're talking about the kids. Okay. Beth says, kudos to you on getting your son to do chores. I worked 40 hours a week plus commute, dinner, 30 minutes of reading, laundry, and back to work and school. They learn to be athletes and good students. Chores, I failed. You did not fail. Gio's just too young for some of that. You know what I mean? Like he's in a little bit, he did football and stuff, but like he doesn't have a huge interest in like doing a lot of sports. We'll see what happens. My husband wants him to do more of it, but we've been home. Like the pandemic has affected our life. He hasn't been able to go out and do all that stuff. I'm sure when he can have more play dates and do all of that, it's going to be harder to keep him wanting to do these chores. But turns out he is seemingly motivated by money. And so that is something I will probably use to my advantage over time with him. But yeah, I mean, every kid is different and, it's different, but you did not fail. You're awesome, I'm sure. Cassie would love a Vendu video of you cross-posting to Mercari if you haven't already done one. So no, I haven't, and I should. It's usually something that I'm doing super early in the morning. So I'd have to like say, okay, I'm going to leave my cross-posting till later and actually sit down and actually do it. So let me write it down because it's something I could totally do. I just haven't done it. Listen to how phlegmy I am. Oh my God. X-post Vendu video. I will try to make that a reality, Cassie. Because yeah, it's really not that difficult. There are some extra things that you need to click around in. If let's say you have everything listed on Poshmark and you're going to import the Poshmark listing to Vendu and then take that Vendu record and then cross-post it to Mercari, there's a few extra check marking that you need to do. But I find that the whole gloriousness of Vendu or any kind of cross-posting software, I would imagine, is that it does all the photo stuff for you, which I find to be the most time-consuming part. Saving all the photos, uploading all the photos, doing all this stuff with it, like it does carry over so much that even though you have to do a couple clicking things, it's still a time saver. So yes, for sure. I will try my best to get that done. Beth, Mercari is so slow for me. It was good during quarantine. No ads anymore on TV. I'm trying to think. I feel like I see ads all the time for all of it, but I don't know. There was one that shocked me the other day. What was it for? And I was like, oh, that's a new commercial. Interesting. Because like they're doing the Real, they're doing Poshmark. I was seeing Mercari ads, but who was it for? I am drawing a blank, but it was interesting. It's an Etsy. Etsy's been doing them. It's going to drive me crazy. But yeah, so for me right now, I don't have too much on Mercari. I'm slowly doing it. Actually, this is one of the new projects that I think my VA or my old VA is going to help with because I just have so many that I want to get over. That could just be like, she could sit there for an entire day and just jam them out. So I think I'm going to have her do a big chunk of my cross posting for me. And then perhaps once it's more manageable and I'm just doing so many listings a day, then I'll do them myself. But I'm just kind of antsy to get like everything over and I just can't block a whole day to do it. So I think I'm going to have her do it. But yeah, I mean, I will say because I haven't been giving it my all, I can't say that Mercari is slow because it could just be that I'm not giving it any attention right now, but I did have one sale in the last week and I would imagine it's just, I need to get it going a little bit more. So let's see. Deb says, yeah, I'm working full time. I was supposed to only work 2 days a week. I was going to up my resale game, but the family I work for was so impressed with how I am with their mother. They wanted me full time. Well, that's good. And I mean, it's good to have something that is, like a bottom line thing. Like you can go and help with this person and, do everything that you need to do for them. And I'm sure that there's some downtime where you can maybe get a few things done on your phone or whatever to where at least, you have basic money coming in from, your full-time gig. So Oh, that was 3 years ago. She has Alzheimer's and is declining. So I did to build up my business. So I have something to replace my income when she is sadly gone. Oh, that's a shame. Hope many years from now. I love her. Oh, that is so sweet. Yeah, it's a whole, I mean, my mom is not there yet, thank gosh. But I remember when my grandma had, a live-in person. So I was joking, her name was Mary, the woman that lived in with my grandma, and she was super sweet and really did the best as she could. And so I said to my mom, I said, Ma, I said, don't worry. I said, I'm not going to put you in a place. I said, we're going to get you a Mary. I said, unless you want a Matthew, we could get a Matthew to come and see. She was like, I don't want a Matthew to come and see me when I'm old and decrepit and whatever, because my husband already knows, like, I'm not going to take care of all his butt wiping and things when he's that old. I said, I'm just going to get you a nice nurse. She can be blonde. Her name could be Bambi for all I care. Like, I will get you a Bambi. She can take care of you. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not a medical person. I cannot. That is not where my skill set lies. Like, I don't deal with things like that. Or like, I have a stuffy nose and I'm a big giant baby. Cassie, thanks. I will check out Our Rich. Yeah, their channel is awesome. I mean, and I've been watching them and they've just been growing, and like they're living the dream now in Portugal. They have 2 young girls and they're retired. They just got a puppy. Like, I don't know. They are the coolest people in my book because they, on a government salary, retired early in their late 30s and early 40s. Like, totally the dream. I am like a sloth at the DMV in the movie Zootopia. When it comes to listing, I'm over listing. I overthink it, want it perfect, and so on. That's why I want my daughter to list for me. You know what? And that is a great thing, because you realize that about yourself and you're like, I'm making more of this than it needs to be. If I got someone else that's less subjective, more objective, and can just do what I tell them to do, they'll just do it. It will be faster for them and more things will happen. And then you could focus on something else. And I think that's amazing. Though I do think that you could also help yourself in that regard if you did want to list yourself, or if it doesn't work out with your daughter, where, you don't overthink it. You put some safeguards in. This is something that I talk about with one of the women that I'm doing the reseller chats with weekly. And like, I think we had, I don't want to call it like a breakthrough moment, but I think so dramatic. I think that we had a really good talk last week where she felt like, I don't need, like, I think she needed permission to not go the nth degree trying to research comps, or go, 10 steps down the road to try to find a stock photo. Like, I showed her exactly how I do it, which takes 2 minutes or less. And she was like, you made it sound so simple. I was like, it is so simple. It is, like, it totally is. It's not a major deal. Like, just look for the thing. If you can't find the thing, move on. That's it. We talked about that. If you want to see the one that we did, was it last week, I think, was about listing and the things that hang you up when you're listing and how you can list faster. So I don't know, hire somebody, have your daughter help you. But if for some reason that doesn't work out, I highly recommend working on the things that are your shortfall, because at the end of the day, it is your business. And so you can't just rely on someone else to do it for you as a solution to you not trying to do it yourself. But if you can't do it yourself, then I totally recommend having somebody help you with it. Amethyst says, thank you. And I definitely will look into the reset. Yeah. And I mean, I use it as an opportunity to kind of say it for everyone, but it was your comment that kind of sparked the thought. So not that you necessarily need to do it, but I don't think I talk about that enough. I talk about my Etsy store a lot. I think everybody knows I have reseller boxes, I have courses, I have the Etsy store, but I don't always talk about the chats. And I think for some people, they like watching the free content, which is great. It's here for you. I love making it for you. And then some people want a course because they want to dive deep. They want to just pay for it, get in, get out, and be done with it. Some people just need a tool. They want a listing form. They don't know how or want to create it themselves. They buy the listing tool. They move on. Other people would benefit highly from just a concentrated, in-depth 30-minute chat about whatever the thing is that they're struggling with, to just get someone else's perspective. A lot of us don't know any other resellers. And so I'm, by far expert, but I do know some things because I've been through some things, and I'm happy to share that information with you. So that's that. Lori, hiya. Hiya, Rebecca. What actually defines when a business is full-time? I don't know. I mean, it's up to you. I say that so like, oh, I don't know. But I think I actually just talked about this with somebody. I think it depends, because some people can say, I'm a full-time reseller because I don't have any other job. I work full-time hours, but that doesn't mean that they're making full-time living wage. I can tell you that's why I call myself a semi-full-time reseller. I devote full-time hours to it now because Gio is in school. But before I didn't. Before it was very part-time hours. But I'm yet making what I would like for my full-time salary to be. Part of it was because I was paying people to help me because I couldn't put in the time. And so that was a big expense. Part of it is because there's a lot of starts and stops sometimes with this. But I've also come to the circle where I've realized I don't know that I ever will be or want to be a full-time reseller, because I so much enjoy the content. I so much enjoy making the courses and the tools, the other creative aspects of what I'm doing as a, content person. Like I'm putting myself out there as a content person, a YouTuber in the reselling niche. I'm not just only reselling. If I was just only reselling and not spending 30 hours a week making YouTube videos and ThreadUp Club and making a course and doing reseller, like if I was just buying and selling clothing and doing that for 40 hours a week, I think I would make a butt ton more money than I am right now. But I will tell you that I don't want to do that. The idea of taking photos all day long and doing nothing else, talking to no other person, doing no sharing, no talking, no teaching, no content, nothing of that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And just recently, I have said, okay, I was doing 10 listings a day. And then I said, I'm going to go up to 12 listings a day this month, which I did briefly. And the goal is to get to 25 listings a day. But I recently changed my system. I'm pre-packing everything now. It's taking me longer. I have to get a new system. I have a post about this on Instagram today. So I'm retooling all of that. It's taking longer. So I went down to 5 listings a day. And I got to tell you, 5 to 10 listings a day is like a sweet spot for me of enough reselling to keep doing it and to keep having a reselling business, but not so much where I really hate all of the reselling. Like I'm excited to list most of these here. I just measured these. These are going to get listed today. They're cashmere. Yay. I'm excited for that. I like doing that. I have a bin of things over here that I'm going to list and I'm excited to do it. But if that was my work for today, to like photograph these 100 things, and tomorrow my work was to list 100 things, and that was going to get me my full-time reseller salary, I would be a miserable person. I don't want to do that. So I don't think that I want to be a full-time reseller. I like being a part-time reseller with a full-time business that has a lot of different parts, that allows me to make content for you and with you and share with you, courses that use my brain power and creativity and ways of making systems that maybe is a shortfall for someone else, my keywords lists and stuff. I like doing reseller chats. Like I want to be out there and have that be a pillar of my business. And then I also have the print on demand side, which is merch, where I make designs and put them on Amazon. And that is a super creative thing that I enjoy doing that I don't get from reselling. So again, Rebecca, answer to your question, I think it depends what you want out of it. Do you want a full-time salary? Are you in a job right now that makes $40,000 a year? And so in order to quit your job, you need to know that you can make $40,000 a year reselling. You have to be able to figure out all those things for yourself. Are you finding the right things to get the right ASP to be able to just rinse and repeat and continue to build once you are not a full-time worker somewhere else? And now you have 40 hours a week to result on your reselling business. And so you could say, well, I'm doing 10 listings a day now, selling them for $30 a piece. So if I'm home doing it full-time, then I can 10x that. And then I'm going to make this amount of money. I mean, because that's really what it takes. You have to have a consistent enough, in my opinion, a consistent enough side hustle and know it well enough to know if you can extrapolate a full-time income from what you're currently doing on a smaller scale, and then determine if you can make a full-time living from that. But some people don't, if you're a stay-at-home mom, you don't maybe need a full-time income. Maybe you need $20,000 or $30,000 a year. And so that's not, I guess for some people it's a full-time income, but to me, compared to what I was doing before, that's not a full-time income. So, that's kind of what I'm making now. What did I take home last? I think I took home like $25,000 salary to me. So my business did like 70 something, and I took home 25,000 salary myself. This year, I'm trying to do $100,000 business and then get as close as I can to like 40 or 50,000 myself. Probably won't hit it, but I'm going to get as close as I can. And then by next year, which was my ultimate goal, is to have a full-time salary, replacing my old salary that I made before I stayed home with Gio from reselling from my business, partially of reselling. So I think a lot of people see what a full-time business is in a lot of different ways. And you need to it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks it is. You need to decide what it is for you. If you need to replace a $40,000 a year income, you need to figure out what do you need to do based on what you're currently doing to hit that. And can you? It depends. You might only find mall brands where you are. You might only be able to sell them for $15 a pop. And so if that's the case, you're going to have to work a whole lot harder than someone who can go to their bins and find plethora of designer items and have an ASP of $50 a piece. They'll have to work a lot less than you to hit that goal. So that's the great thing, but also the very difficult thing about reselling and us all sharing information is that it's so different and unique. You also might find that when you don't have a full-time job working for someone else and you come home and you work for yourself and you have the ability to be flexible, that maybe you need to make less money than you thought you did, or maybe you need to make more money than you thought you did. So, for me, I used to drive 30 minutes to work. I used to pay tolls. I had to dry clean my suits. I worked extra hours, this, all these things. Now I can make less money, have more flexibility, and have less, quote, expenses than I did sometimes at my old job. Because I'm not dry cleaning my little Everlane t-shirt here. I'm not dry cleaning my Lululemon leggings that I got for pennies, So there's a lot of things that go into it. So I hope that answers your question, or at least gives you some thinking points so that you can kind of have that time to yourself, grab a cup of coffee, sit outside in the sun. If there's sun where you are, I don't know where you are, and just have some thoughts with yourself and try to figure out and sort out what it means for you, because it doesn't matter what it means for me. It's so subjective. I hope that helps, Lori. Deb and Beth are talking. 2 stinky boys and a childlike husband. I'm not even going to read the whole thing. 2 stinky boys and a childlike husband. That's a great comment right there. I am fully aware that Gio at 5 is so cute, but at some point he is going to be a stinky adolescent or teenage boy. And I told my husband, that's when you take over, because I don't want to deal with stinky, don't want to take a shower, dirty boxers. Like, oh my God, I can only imagine. Like, Beth, I would love a video or course on t-shirt designs for Amazon. Well, wouldn't we all? I have ideas in my head. I just need to know how to do it. So the thing about Amazon, and why I don't really share a lot on my channel, is because you can't put your designs out there. Everybody will steal your designs. I can't tell you what my really good sellers are, because then you guys are going to take them and sell them yourself. That's not a good thing. It's anything with Amazon. Like if you've seen the Amazon FBA people, they don't like to tell what they're selling. It's kind of like that. Anything with Amazon, super competitive, and you have to be careful. So my channel is a Poshmark reselling channel. If I start talking about Amazon merch, I mentioned it briefly, but if I start doing content on that, it's going to mess up my whole mojo that I have going with YouTube right now, because when I started doing the ThreadUp content, then everything started to get haywire. So I'm sticking Poshmark, I'm sticking reselling here on this channel. There are lots of YouTube channels. I think I recommended one in my last email list, which means, Beth, you were not reading my emails. There's a guy, RJ, and he has a channel, RJ Hustles, and he's who I learned about Amazon. I don't know if I learned about it from him, but I watched his channel a lot to learn what to do and how to do it. So he's a big Amazon merch channel. There are lots of others that you could go and find and learn the same stuff I learned. I probably won't put out, I don't even know that I would put out a course, because maybe someday, never say never, or maybe it would be other things that you could do besides reselling kind of thing. Maybe I would do something like that. I've thought, excuse me, burp. I've thought about that, but I don't think that I'm good enough at it to share. I make a couple $100 off of pretty much the same designs every month. I'm really hoping it'll be close to consistently 1,000. I've crossed the $1,000 a month in royalties mark once. So I'm really hoping to get there. I don't think I've got it figured out enough to charge people, for information, or even really to put it out for free, because there is content out there. So I would recommend just searching on YouTube for, Amazon merch, see what kind of tutorials come up. Try to find the most current things, because it does change over time. They've changed a lot of things, kind of like how our platforms like Poshmark changes and whatever. So does that. So find some current people and watch and see what you can find out. Or Beth, if you want, I could tell you kind of one-off stuff if you wanted to do a reseller chat, because it could be, I'm not putting out content for everyone. It's me telling you specifically what to do based on my experience. I could totally do that with you. So that would probably be the only other way I would do it. I don't think I'm going to put content out about that. Hey, Melissa, AKA Vandy's Closet. Okay, so we changed it. How are you? So were you having like an identity crisis with your thing? Because it was Vandy's Closet, right? And then it was Melissa Vandridge, and now we're AKA. I like it because you have to, people don't remember who you were, or they're used to seeing something. Plus you changed your photo, which I think is beautiful. So I think that's so funny. But hey, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. LOL, LOL, I love you, Rebecca. You are so hilarious. Well, let's put that one up there. I don't know what I was saying that was hilarious, but I enjoy being colorful. Let's put it that way. I don't know if I'm hilarious or just a hot mess, but I do enjoy saying things that I think sometimes people think I'm a little kooky. And you know what's so funny is Gio's kind of the same. Like, this poor kid doesn't have a chance in life because he got stuck with me as a mom, and he's just going to end up being crazy, whether he likes it or not. Oh my God. I used to be a CNA in another life. My husband can totally have a Bambi. LOL. Yes. Yes. I feel like that should be a thing. Like, maybe when I retire early, I will start a service here, business idea. Someone else can start the service of Bambis, right? Like, the hot woman that comes and takes care of the old man, that just makes the last years of his life more pleasurable. And like the woman who's the wife who could care less about it. That would be amazing. Oh, I can market the heck out of that. That would be amazing. Oh, hi to Melissa. Melissa says, hey, Athena, how are you? I know your name. You've been around. I don't mean you've been around, but like, I've seen your name pop up in different things. You've either been in live, or I think you might have bought something on Etsy or my courses or whatever. So I recognized you. Hello, it's good to see you. Let's see. The recent video about speeding up listing was amazing. Well, thank you. Can you share your text replacement tool on Chrome? Yes, I can. I looked at a few, but wanted your opinion. So I would imagine that there's a million out there, and they probably all do generally the same thing and are probably all just fine. I would not pay for any. The one that I have, it's like, again, it was made for merch by Amazon people so that they could list faster. But the whole idea of it is across the board. And so it's, what is it called? It's like a little t-shirt, and it says Auto Text Expander. But when I click on it, it's called Merch Text. Streamline Merch by Amazon, Merch Text. So I would search either one of those, either Merch Text or auto text expander, because those are the two things that it's showing me over here. I don't know what it's called. And that's what I use on the desktop, laptop, whatever. And then on the phone, I just do, you know, text replacement because I have an iPhone. Hopefully that helps you. But again, I'm sure there are others out there. You can, I mean, as long as you're not paying for them, because I don't think you should pay for this. I pay for other Chrome extensions, but I wouldn't pay for this kind of Chrome extension. I think there's plenty of free ones, and I'm sure they all do the same thing. Dave's Digs says, hey peeps. Hey, it's almost time for peeps. It's almost Easter time. Oh, my nose. Melissa says, I think I'm going to start describing myself as a full-time entrepreneur, which I feel is more accurate since I do more than one thing. And yes, and I do classify myself as an entrepreneur. I think that there is a difference between someone that has created a job for themselves and someone that has created a business, because I think a business is not solely dependent on the one person. Like a job is, if I don't go to work, I don't get paid. In my opinion, that's a job, right? And then a business is, it kind of makes money exponentially beyond the person working in it. And that's kind of getting into, you know, I have products that I sell over and over again, like my digital downloads and the courses. I have people, you know, that help me from time to time, but hopefully it will be more regularly, like when I had a photographer or when I had the VA. And so you could be a solo entrepreneur, but I look at it as, you know, a business is beyond me. And if it's just me working in my business, then I've just created a job for myself. I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of how I look at it. My husband's texting me. He's saying it's past 2. Almost done. So we'll go through what's here. He's saying it's time to get off and have family time, because it's spring break. So my husband took off some time and my son is home. But no, I think you're right. I think that is good, Melissa. And I think everybody can decide. Like, some people don't want to be classified as an entrepreneur. Some people would prefer that and not just be a reseller. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but they see themselves as more. And, you know, I have more. You have YouTube and a personal brand, and you do other things. Like, you have more. And so, yeah, I think that's right on. Just picked up 400 pounds of clothes for $150. Wow, Dave's Digs. That is super amazing. I hope that there's a lot of good stuff in there. That's really great. Melissa says, wow, are you going to do a haul video? Okay. What is ASP? Christy Coates. ASP, average sales price. So if you sell a bunch of items, you take the total number of items that you sold, the total value of sales that you sold, and divide it. And that gives you your average sales price. So right now, I think I haven't done a what's sold on Poshmark video in 2 weeks, which I'm sorry, just Sundays have been crazy and I didn't get to record them. My ASP was like $24. So of all the sales that I had that week, total number of sales by the total dollar value of sales, on average, each sale was $24. I hope that makes sense. No, Melissa, I had to quit YouTube for a while. The road to 1,000 was too much right now. Oh, okay. So check out, I guess Dave's Digs has a channel, so then you can check that out. I don't know. That's new to me, but I will check it out. If I hit 100,000 in sales, I'll start YouTube again. See, that's a great goal, because you're saying I'm putting my reselling business first. YouTube is the secondary other thing that's like a treat for me. And if I hit my goals in reselling, then I'll do this other thing. And I think that's fantastic. Fair. It's a lot of work for sure. Okay, so they're talking back and forth. I feel bad sometimes, like, broadcasting people's conversations back and forth. I mean, obviously it's on the interwebs, but still. Wow, that's amazing. Beth says, yes, I have started calling myself an entrepreneur. I'm also sitting in the sun drinking ice time right now. Great place to watch lives. Okay, so lives meaning the live stream. Sun drinking ice time right now. So not sure what you're actually drinking, Beth. You're so funny. Athena says, found it. Thanks. Okay, so you found the Google Chrome extension. Okay, so we are all caught up. So this is last call for any topics, questions, concerns about hiring people or anything else, because my husband and son and the pool are calling me. Don't know, I'm in Orlando, Florida, and so we're kind of really into pool time right now. Like, it has started. We had pool opening day like 2 weeks ago, and like, I'm big into making traditions for Geo, so it was all about, like, you know, we had ice cream and we did, you know, we got a new pool toy, and it was like pool opening day, and like, we were so excited. So yes. So any last thoughts, any last words from anyone? I appreciate everyone showing up. I appreciate everyone. Iced tea. There we go, Beth. Thank you. So everybody that watches these lives now will get to know Beth's typing skills, because it's super funny. We've DM'd and we've texted. It's like, what are you trying to tell me, Beth? Let's decode it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I am the same way. And that's why I make fun of her, because I have like, I guess this is one of those things where you could tell why I'm not a millennial, because I'm on the borderline of whatever the other generation is, the older one before millennials and millennials. And so, what is it, Gen X? And so I'm a terrible typer. My sister can go bing, 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 and she probably has bigger thumbs than I do. And I have little, nice, dainty thumbs, and I just cannot type worth a damn. So that's why I'm not old. That's the bottom line on that. Melissa, so jealous. It's about to rain for 10 days straight here in Washington. Oh my God. But you know what though? Yes, because you're out in Washington, and so it's a different kind of climate, right? But our little retention pond down the street from us, because I walk the dog past it, and we have retention ponds here, and like in communities, and there's no water in it. There's no water. It's all dry. Like, you could go and walk in it. Like, you could tell there's no alligators in this retention pond because there's no water in there. And the birds are just walking along, and it's terrible. Like, we need rain, and we're now going to be, I mean, we're a little early. I would say probably April is when we'll start getting our rain, and then it's going to rain every day, and it is what it is. But I hope that we don't have a problem, because it's, you know, you don't want it to be dry like that, because then that messes with all the, you know, fish and stuff, or whoever's living in these little ponds and whatever. So not good. But I am happy to know that there's no alligators in that retention pond. That's a big plus, because I worry sometimes the dog likes to go down and like get a little too close, and like in my mind I catastrophize that this giant alligator is just gonna leap up and like eat my Malia, or Geo for that matter. Isn't that like moms? We do that, right? We just like think the most terrible things are gonna happen. Anyway, last comments here. I'm headed to see a wholesaler in Orlando next week. Well, hello, that's awesome. First of all, Dave's Digs, I don't know where are you? That's number one. So I know, is that far or is that near? And cool, wholesaler in Orlando. That's awesome. I love that. I think that's great. I think there's a lot of that kind of thing here, but I've never really looked into anything local. Going to watch the listing video after we wrap up here. Ugh, so jealous of pool day. I know, I'm sorry, guys. I do apologize. I try not to bring it up too much. But yes, please watch that listing video if you think that's going to help, because I think we did a good job last week. I'm going to go find the video. Someone mentioned showing your Chrome text replacement thingy now. Yeah, I do have a video on it and how I list faster with it. But anyway, the one is called Merch Text or Auto Text Expander. I have a lot of videos about thingies on my channel, I'll tell you. I'm always showing a thingy. Alligators, OMG. Yeah, I know, it's real. It is real. I was thinking no alligators was a good thing. Haha, yes. No, for sure. You're happy. Be happy that there's no alligators there. Anyone see the video of the man saving his dog from an alligator? No, I did not see that. I don't know. That would make it very real, because I don't know. Like, I think about these things. Like, I think about what would I do in a situation where the alligator's trying to get my dog. When Geo was in a stroller and I used to push him in a stroller to walk the dog, that scenario was very real. One time a dog came and like attacked Malia and was like biting at her neck, and then the leash made the stroller almost flip over. And so it was like, do I save my baby? Do I save my dog? The dog's being attacked by this other dog, and I'm like shaking, and then the old guy down the street's not trying to help me, and I'm like screaming. Anyway, everybody's fine. We're all still alive. But the people with the dog, I gave them lots of dirty looks and yelled at the girl that let the dog out of the house because that was crazy. Jacksonville. Oh, Jacksonville. Cool. Very cool. So not too far. Well, I hope that your deal goes down really good and you get some good stuff. New to the channel, but you may be able to answer real quick. Where would you list vintage? I don't do a lot of Levi's or vintage or anything. Hi, nice to meet you. Vanilla Vanilla. I'm not a vintage seller really, so I know people sell vintage on Etsy. I will say that I have sold some vintage things on Poshmark. There's definitely a market on Poshmark for vintage things. I would imagine there is so on eBay, and then aren't all the cool kids going on Depop? So I would check out those ones. I don't know if vintage does real well on Mercari. So that's the best I can do for you there. Maybe someone in the chat can help you with that. Alligators do eat dogs and people here in Florida. Yes, Beth. Yes, thank you. Oh goodness, don't apologize. Seize the day and enjoy your. I know I'm gonna go. 100% enjoy that pool. It was amazing. He saved the dog and kept the cigar in his mouth. He, the man, it was a happy ending. That is hysterical. I will have to look for that video. Okay, everybody, I'm going to do this. We've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. I appreciate all of you. I hope that you will go and check out another video of mine after this because that's like a really good thing for YouTube. So I would love it if you can do that. If we talked about anything here, I mentioned it's in the description. Always go ahead and feel free to check out the description down below. Like the video on the way out. Subscribe so we can hang out again, and I will see you in the next video. Have a wonderful week full of sales, guys. Take care. Bye.